Well, good morning, Mayor Parrish and members of Council. I'm delighted to be here today to talk to you about the progress we've made on the Memorandum of Understanding that we signed with UTM in June of 2023. Before I begin, I want to welcome two special guests, Professor Melanie Woodin, the newly installed 17th President of the University of Toronto and the first woman to hold this position in the 200-year history of the university. Our partner, Alexandra Gillespie, who is the principal of University of Toronto and who's worked with us for many years now. The University of Toronto has played a significant role in shaping Mississauga since it opened its doors in 1967. In fact, a 2012 study found that UTM created over $250 million in value for the Ontario economy, of which roughly half stays in Mississauga. And hot off the presses, U of T was just ranked first in Canada and 21st globally in the 2026 Times Higher Education World University Rankings. That's 21st in the world. Needless to say, we are lucky to have this institution in our city. While the city has long worked with UTM, in 2023, we formalized our partnership with the university through an MOU. It was more than a symbolic gesture. It was a commitment to build a meaningful, strategic, and operational partnership that would benefit our city, our residents, and our work to address shared priorities that matter to Mississauga. This partnership reflects what leading global cities are doing, like London and Boston, that have shown when municipalities and universities work together, the results can be transformative. What we are building through this MOU is unique to Mississauga, with students and faculty working side by side with our staff. At its core, our partnership is about providing students opportunities to learn, work, and grow, and for the city to tap into the incredible talent and research innovation at the university. Today, I'm proud to report that this partnership has not only lived up to its promise, but it's thriving. Some highlights include, through the operations table, we've created a space to navigate issues and find shared solution on areas like transit, parking, and housing. As an example, UTM student advocates are welcomed into My Way offices on a first-name basis, providing input into service changes and engaging in My Way strategic planning. Joint efforts by UTM Spin-Up, ICUBE and IDEA Mississauga are helping shape the future of Mississauga's innovation ecosystem and economy by providing space and support for new ideas and innovative businesses to get off the ground. Through our ongoing collaboration with the Masters of Urban Innovation program, under the guidance of Professor Tara Vinodre, we are nurturing the next generation of municipal leaders and finding ways to take their research to the next level, even winning graduate fellowships in the process. For the past 2 summers, through the Center of Urban Environments, under the leadership of Professor Matthew Adams, we have welcomed students and faculty to tackle challenges our staff do not have the capacity or resources for. This includes mapping the groundwater to better support our stormwater system, updating ecological protection practices. What we're doing is bridging the gap between academia and municipal needs. And finally, as part of our Healthy City strategy, we continue our partnership with Novo Nordisk's Network for Healthy Populations. With the support of Dr. Lorraine Lipscomb and her team, we continue to benefit from expert insights while also building research and community partnerships. There are many stories like this, and over the last 2 years, we've benefited from over $200,000 in research grants. Collaborations have contributed to over 19 initiatives, and students have contributed 2,600 hours to the city through internship courses. The impact of this work today is clear, whether it's through research collaborations, public engagements, experiential courses, or even just tours of City Hall. Young people at UTM can see themselves starting their professional journeys here in Mississauga, contributing to our city, and they see the value of public service. Other benefits are harder to measure, but are just as important, including the trust we're building, the world-class experience we can tap into, the culture of collaboration we have fostered, and the overall sense of shared purpose. Today, we reflect on the progress we've made in the first 2.5 years, and we look to the future and beyond.
Bonjour, hi, and from Aotearoa, New Zealand, kia ora. We are honoured to join you today because we know how much strength U of T draws from this great city, my city. Here's a quick story to show what I mean. 2 summers ago, I met a third-year UTM student studying information technology, whom my office hired through our work-study program, one of the many ways U of T connects students with professional experience and prepares the most employable public university graduates in North America. Like 2,500 and more others at UTM, this student comes from a South Asian family that's put down roots in Brampton, Mississauga, and the Western GTA. On his first day, my team and I asked him why he decided to study at UTM. His dad, he said, has diabetes, so he chose to attend the university that turned diabetes from a fatal to a treatable disease through the discovery of insulin. He'd even gone on a campus tour downtown Toronto to come as close as possible to where this discovery happened. But he enrolled in UTM in the end because we're U of T's campus in his Mississauga community and because he believes he'll make the biggest impact on the world from here. This story exemplifies one of the things I love most about UTM. For many of our students, as for me, the campus combines the best of two identities. We're U of T for Mississauga and U of T for the world, both the home of insulin and a home in this neighbourhood. U of T, as you just heard, ranks first in Canada and 10th globally in innovation, ahead of Cornell and Yale, first in Canada and 4th globally in scientific research impact, ahead of Oxford and Cambridge, first in Canada and first globally in sustainability. Our campus brings this global excellence into this community, drawing on this community's brilliance to make us and the world even better in turn. For his part, my former work-study student is now pursuing advanced graduate work in cybersecurity, which we should all be grateful for. U of T will continue to improve, both because of students like this and because we now have a leader. We always have leaders, but we have a special new one now who proves the kind of impact we can make. President Melanie Woodin is a double U of T graduate, an internationally renowned neuroscientist, and a truly transformative leader who served as Dean of our Faculty of Arts and Science, the most comprehensive in Canada, for one of the most productive periods in its nearly 200-year history. She is also, and I know this from personal experience of 24/7 messaging during our COVID-19 response, a truly generous collaborator who rises to any challenge and just gets things done. That's a great quality because for U of T, with the city of Mississauga, there's so much we can do together. Please join me in welcoming and congratulating Professor Melanie Woodin, 17th President of the University of Toronto.
Thank you so much, Alex, for the kind introduction, and thank you to Mayor Parrish, members of council, and everyone here today for welcoming me so warmly and for the invitation to join. It's a wonderful opportunity to engage with community leaders from across Mississauga and the Peel region, and to speak about the strong and growing partnership between the University of Toronto and this incredible city. I'm especially pleased to see so many friends and champions of U of T Mississauga in the room today. I know some of you are alum, and as I always say to those that aren't, there's still time. And it's also wonderful that we have some of our students to join us today as well. As you know, they are the future of our university, our region, and our country. What I'd like to talk about today is simple, but very important. How can U of T and the city of Mississauga continue to grow together from strength to strength? Some of you know that U of T's current fundraising campaign is called Defy Gravity. But what does it mean to defy gravity? I thought I'd give you two examples of how defying gravity directly relate to our mission. We have a mission of excellence in teaching and research. On the research side, I'll give you just one example. You'll hopefully know that just last year we celebrated Professor Geoffrey Hinton winning a Nobel Prize in Physics for his discovery of the use of neural networks in deep learning, which has gone on to revolutionize artificial intelligence. But the backstory to that, and to many of our researchers and the scholarship they do, is that far before winning a prestigious award such as that, they were toiling away in fundamental research across the disciplines. So more than 30 years ago, when Professor Hinton joined us, and most of us in this room didn't know anything about artificial intelligence, he and various colleagues in computer science were trying different avenues to understand how we may produce machine learning or artificial intelligence. And this area that he decided to pursue, which is really modeling computer science networks after networks in the brain, this was not what anyone thought would be the winning avenue. He was really pretty marginalized. If you went to a conference, few people were coming to his talk to hear about this. So it wasn't mainstream. But what we do at the University of Toronto across our 3 campuses is put our faith in those faculty members and allow them to pursue those areas of interest, even if we don't see where the fame is coming from, because we believe very much in their knowing what is the best scholarship to study. And lo and behold, 30 years later, not only may they win a Nobel Prize, but they're very much transforming the world that we all live in. Let me tell you one other example of how we defy gravity, and that as it relates to our mission of excellence in teaching and learning. Many people don't know that in 1998, we enshrined into policy a commitment that we would turn away no Canadian student or permanent resident due to financial need. This has turned out to be incredibly transformative for the university and for so many students that have come to us. And we describe it in a few ways, and I'm going to give you 2 descriptions, one of a notable public figure and one of our alma mater that I think capture it well. So one of our most notable alma mater who received an honorary degree, and part of his acceptance said that what he loved most about the University of Toronto is whether you had all the breaks in life or absolutely none, U of T is here for you. And that's a great way of capturing this financial commitment we have. Or you can also look at Malcolm Gladwell, who many of you will know is a U of T alum and of course a well-known author and a public intellectual. He was recently on a podcast talking about his new book, Tipping Point, and in that podcast, he talked about a difference between the Ivy Leagues and the University of Toronto, his alma mater, and he said, the Ivy Leagues pride themselves on the number of students they keep out. We pride ourselves on the number of students we admit. So well said, in my opinion. So what does this mean for UTM? Well, it means that UTM alone, more than 3,000 students from across Ontario families making less than $50,000 a year are attending the University of Toronto. And about 5,000 students are first in their families to graduate from the university. And of course, as we've heard from our previous speakers, they're doing it at a top-ranked university. If you don't know by now, we love to talk about our rankings, so you're going to hear this repeated frequently. But in one of the references we just heard, we have just been ranked 4th in the world for our impact on research. So Harvard, Stanford, University College London, University of Toronto. So why am I telling you that when I'm telling you about the financial access guarantee it means? It means that if you're a student, a high school student here in Mississauga or in the Peel region, you can come to the University of Toronto. It is financially accessible. We have access. We admit a lot of students, and you're going to get an excellent education. And that's what we're really proud of. And we think there's a real parallel between U of T and the city of Mississauga because we know that this region defies gravity too. It's one of Canada's foremost portals of opportunity, a place where innovation, entrepreneurship thrive, and where you have boundless energy. Every time I'm here, I'm struck by the number of growing companies, the diversity of ideas, and the sheer optimism that defines this city. This is a city that, like U of T, keeps reaching higher. And Mississauga and the University of Toronto Mississauga have truly grown up together. We've developed side by side, responding to the needs of a rapidly changing region and helping each other thrive. And that MOU that we just heard about between our university and your city is the latest example of this strong partnership. Alongside working toward equity and truth and reconciliation, the MOU has enabled some great research as well as some hands-on learning opportunities for students. And speaking of opportunities, these remarks come at a special moment for me personally. As you heard, I was just recently installed as the 17th president of the University of Toronto, and I'm really honored that my term is going to overlap our bicentennial. So in 2027, in just over a year from now, we're going to celebrate our 200-year history of a university, and we're going to enter our 3rd century. So it's a perfect time to talk about what we can achieve together in a partnership that's already strong. There's so much more we can do to thrive. And I'll just give you one example. And that's related to 2023. Thanks in part to advice from Mississauga city and business leaders, UTM created SpinUp, our newest innovation accelerator, which provides early stage companies across specialized lab space and supports in attracting life science talent. This is the first of its kind at the University of Toronto to have an accelerator with wet lab space, and it's here in Mississauga. 22 companies are now based at SpinUp, where they're working on new therapies and technologies for, among other things, kidney and heart disease, sustainability, and supply chain logistics. So at UTM, our researchers conduct the fundamental science that sparks that discovery. Our students are integrated into that research with learning opportunities, allowing them to connect the classroom learning to hands-on innovation. And then they can come to spin up and commercialize those ideas. Let me end where I began by highlighting the importance of those students. Mississauga is a powerful engine for talent across the Greater Toronto Area. So many of our students, both at UTM and across our 3 campuses, come from this city and the region. They study here, they thrive here, and the vast majority want to stay here to build their lives and their careers. Roughly 6,500 of our current students come from families in Mississauga and Brampton, and about 32,000 undergraduate students have graduated from UTM over the past 10 years. It's also worth emphasizing that the University of Toronto Mississauga has graduated 500 physicians into the community. This is a massive contribution to local healthcare. And in the past 5 years, we've seen 200 graduates in occupational sciences. And just next year, the Faculty of Nursing is coming to UTM with students who will pursue their clinical placements at the Trillium Health Partners. Each of these graduates represents the shared success of Mississauga and UTM, the outcome of collaboration between educators, policymakers, and community leaders like all of you. There's a palpable optimism running through Mississauga and Peel, through UTM, and across the entire University of Toronto. It's the optimism of people who believe in what's possible when we work together. So as we approach our 3rd century, I'm truly excited to see what we'll accomplish together. New discoveries, new partnerships, and new opportunities for students in this great city. So thank you again for your warm welcome. Thank you for your leadership and for your shared commitment to the future of education, innovation, and the University of Toronto, Mississauga.
Thank you very much. Councillor Tejo.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, President Woodin, and congratulations. Prior to my election here in Mississauga, I spent most of my career working in the post-secondary sector, including some time in the minister's office, in which the Minister of Colleges and Universities would often joke that the real minister responsible for higher education in Ontario was the president of U of T. Now, maybe that was because it was David Naylor or Dr. Gertler, but the times have certainly shown that the investment and the expertise that happens at U of T certainly leads the way for our community, the province, and the world. I did want to touch on that relationship because there are a number of challenges that publicly funded institutions in Ontario have to deal with based on their relationship with the province, the funding formula, all the models in terms of international students and program approvals. All of that leads to pressures on post-secondary institutions in the province that ebb and flow based on policy making at the provincial level. I wanted to ask you basically, ways that we can work together and some of the challenges that you faced recently as an institution in terms of how the city can then support it. I want to focus more on student housing, that type of relationship, and where we can potentially work together.
Well, thank you so much for that, and wonderful to hear about your background in higher education in the Minister's Office. You're certainly right, and I'm sure everyone in this chamber today is aware that higher education in Ontario, both colleges and university, are facing a number of pressures, primarily financial pressures, but also pressures due to changes in federal policy, for example, around immigration. I would say that since coming in to the role on July 1st, I've spent almost the vast majority of my time deeply engaging with members of the provincial government, both in the Minister of Colleges and University and Research Excellence and Security, but in the Minister of Finance office, Treasury, a number of boards, and deep engagement with the Premier himself. And I actually have been really heartened by these conversations because I do see the members of the provincial government and their leader do understand the value of higher education. So that's an important place to start, because if we can come to a shared understanding of that and find where are we already aligned, then we have an opportunity for how we move forward. And I'll give you just one example of that. I talked about this commitment that we have that we don't turn any student away due to financial need. Well, that's pretty similar to the Premier's commitment to student affordability, right? So many of you may know that our tuition was reduced by 10% 6 years ago, and it's been held at that level since that time. And that's put a huge amount of pressure on universities because, of course, like most organizations, our expenses are rising, right, due to inflation and a number of reasons. So we've got this cap on revenue and these growing expenses. But instead of focusing on that gap right now, we focused on the fact that we've got a shared priority, student affordability. We're both committed to that, and we both committed for a long time. So then we can solution make together. Okay, we're both committed to that in the future. What are the other ways that we can maintain student affordability while still bringing more money into the system? And yes, we'd like some of that to come to the province, and I feel confident it will. They're doing a funding formula review, and this is around how to provide more sustainable funding to universities going forward. But it is also around reconsideration of tuition, recognizing that for some students that's not going to be feasible to pay more, but that there may be opportunities for other students. So I feel we're going in the right direction there, and we're keen to continue those conversations. Maybe to the second part of your question, because that's one issue that that I think is people are most aware of, but there are many other. Student housing is a perfect one, and we've been talking about that very recently, including with the mayor earlier this morning and the deputy mayor. And there's already been deep engagement, of course, between this council and UTM on that. And I shared earlier this morning that my objective is that over time, any member of the U of T community who wanted to live in U of T housing would have the opportunity to do so, whether that's from a first-year undergraduate student living in a traditional dorm on campus to upper year students who might live in a new private-public partnership down on Dundas, where I know you're looking to intensify more, and to even have new faculty members supporting the students in some of that housing. So we want to do that and are doing that in tight collaboration and coordination with the city to make sure that we do it in a way that creates great places for people to live, but does not exacerbate the transit and traffic challenges that your city and others, of course, face as well, and also ensures that the community around the campus itself is able to maintain the fabric of that community they've had for so long.